About it.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Live. You got it. You did it.
Are
Hey,
live.
good stuff, Beth.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coffee Conversations, following along Richard's format. I will say this is Coffee Conversation number 129 because we're just making stuff up. Today we are joined by Pat Mora, who is the band director out at Nicholas Junior High School, right?
Yep.
And a bunch of other schools too. But
yeah.
That's your primary school. Pat's in California. So, Pat, we'll start the conversation by saying, when did you guys last see your kids in class?
Wow. Hold on. I have this date. It's on my phone, I think, because I remember the talk. We were in the midst of talking about LAUSD and their union wanting everything to stop. So I think it was the 20th of March, maybe the 13th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was the day LA Unified closed down everything as well. Once they closed, everything domino affected all around the area.
I'm sure. And so how quickly did your school district encourage and or strive to get itself onto distance learning?
The same day, they had already put together some sort of protocol for the next week. So the district released a 5-day lesson plan for every student across the district. And it was kind of like, hey, guide your own learning for 5 days as a preemptive to, we got to get this together because this is uncharted territory.
Right.
And that night they held a special board meeting at 9 p.m. I think it lasted a couple hours where they put together guidelines for everything so that by Monday we had a quick meeting with whatever school we were at across the district. And they said, okay, this is what we're doing. Here's how we're going to implement it. You have the rest of the week to put together your lesson plans for the next 5 days, which we had spring break to also, take care of game planning. And then after that, it was just every week we prepare for the next week. And then while we're preparing for the next week, we're, working with our students as much as we can and so on and so forth. But yeah, they put together a game plan very quickly. It was over the weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So do you guys have because I am not technology literate at all, but some school districts had an online presence anyhow. Maybe it wasn't anything more than just making announcements and sending out documents and possibly kids being able to submit homework assignments through an online platform. Did you guys have that?
A lot of our schools do. And the problem we ran into for this, it was just completely dependent on the school. My main school, Nicholas, is a little over 80% Title I. And so a lot of my students do not have access to internet. Some parents don't even know how to access the internet.
Ooh, okay.
And so we had our office is amazing. Every person that works inside of our front office is just spectacular. They called every parent they could. If they had to, they showed up at their doorstep with instructions. Hey, here's how you get free internet from Spectrum.
Okay.
Follow these steps, and then we'll help you along the way by phone if you need to, just to get their kids online for some sort of learning.
Okay.
But we also have campuses that are probably 20% special needs, things like that. And so every student there is able to get online. They've been doing these platforms like Seesaw, Google Classroom, things like that, Nearpod for years already, and they know what to do. They know how to access it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
you guys really didn't have much of a delay or obstacle to overcome.
Some of our schools, yes. In a lot of our schools, we had a lot of obstacles.
Well, how did the districts account for students that don't have laptops or Chromepad books or whatever?
Every student in our district has an iPad.
Oh, okay.
Every kid, we're 1-to-1. And so we knew they at least had that as long as they took it home the day we let out. So, principals were scrambling we found an iPad. Who does it belong to? It's in this classroom. Let's get it to that kid. Find a way. Parent came over, picked it up. So the real problem came from internet access from home.
Gotcha.
And how to solve that problem.
Gotcha. That's really impressive. So you said that, how much are you you are a Title I school?
Yeah, we are Title I.
That's amazing because I know that, so anyhow, babbling on. But so what did you do? Because I know you do beginning band, but you also do middle school band. So what are you doing as far as online?
Anything I can. The first week, just to kind of test out the waters, I put together just basic lessons through PowerPoint that they could just click and find whatever they wanted online. I have a friend. Here's a great pitch for somebody I went to college with, Marianne Condit. Just amazing when it comes to tech. She's presented at TMEA convention. Her website's That Flippin' Band Director.
Love it.
And it's all about how to flip your band classroom. And so she had tons of resources on there. I linked a ton of them. She has a YouTube page with listening files like, hey, if you play flute, go listen to this. So, professional recordings, things like that, or live recordings of, like New York Phil with trombone soloist Joseph Alessi, things like that. So I was able to throw out a ton of listening for them right away. And then I said, hey, we might actually be able to use this time to teach a lot of theory. Because my elementaries, I have 4 elementary schools aside from my middle school. And we meet twice a week for about half an hour each time, which it's time. It's good time, but it's not a lot of time.
Right.
And we're mixed classes. So starting 5th grade band, getting that done it's a job. And I really, really enjoy the challenge because I've never done 5th grade band before. You guys know what I've done. Last year was my first year doing 5th grade band, and I had no idea what they were able to accomplish. So we had to push the envelope as much as we could.
Well, but, yeah. Well, because tell us a little bit about the situation with your school district, which is not, by the way, for anybody who's watching from afar or listening, California is not unique in this, but there are many schools that have no music education in their school district. There are school districts that have a little bit of music education in their school district, and then there are school districts that have just a ton. And music education became really scarce in California for a while. A friend from Yamaha said, you don't grow music teachers if kids don't see music teachers in the building. And so there was a real situation there. So tell us about your situation, Pat.
So my situation, my district, Fullerton Unified, is I think we have 22 schools. Please don't quote me on that. But we have 4 band directors across our district, and each band director has 1 junior high plus 4 or 5 elementary schools to go with it. We're only K through 8. We don't have a high school in our district. That's another district across the city. So each director has our 5 schools. We all have 5th and 6th grade beginning band at the elementaries, and then we have 7th and 8th grade bands at our junior highs. And those junior highs are usually situated where we'll have 1 or 2 beginning band classes and then an advanced band class. Advanced. Some people call it concert band. Some people call it symphonic band. For us, our district just named it advanced band, and we go with it. And those are for the kids that have been in band for at least 1 to 2 years, or we can continue on. And those are going to be our main performing groups right there, is our advanced band. At our elementary schools, we split it up to 5th and 6th grade band, and we all kind of do it a little differently. But we all get to meet up and talk about how we do it. And the thing is, our schedules are all different. So I might have 30 minutes twice a week with my 6th grade kids, but another band director at one of their schools may have 20 minutes once a week with some of theirs. And it creates a big challenge. So one of the things we have to do just weekly, if not daily, is communicate with our other elementary teachers and our principals. And I'm very lucky. I have principals that say, work with your teachers, whatever they agree upon with you, I'm cool with it. And so I'm really lucky to have principals that don't take the reins on everything that we do, and they pass it on to us and let us just take control. And you can't ask for better than that, really.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. That is really very cool. So, I know that everybody's currently in the survival mode of teaching online, but California was one of the first places that reported COVID. And what are they thinking about school going forward?
They have not given a definite answer yet, and we want to meet. We want to meet in August. Like the goal right now is to be in class with everybody in August. How that looks right now, we're not sure. I've heard several different ideas, and this is not necessarily from my administrators, but just from educators in the area. We're definitely going to have school next year. We'll meet early August and have a normal school year. And if things happen, we make changes as they happen. We may meet up, but we may be half distance learning for the beginning of the year. So we'd have a block schedule, A-Day, B-Day. So A-Day, 50% of the campus shows up to school. We teach them. B-Day, the other 50% comes, we teach them, and then we just flip-flop back and forth. But we don't know yet. And I don't think they're going to release anything until we have a real picture, probably closer to late June, mid-July. Because whatever they say now, parents are going to go, okay, we're going to do this.
Right.
And then the district will come around in July and change it. The parents say, well, we prepared for this. What are you guys doing? This is chaotic. And so a lot of people want answers now, but I don't think we're going to get them. And that's a more reasonable approach because we want to be prepared for this.
Right. Yeah. Is there any kind of, so how is busing? Like how large of a area does that school district that you work within? I mean, that's a huge school district, right?
Yeah. We're kind of big for our area. There is a much larger school district to the south of us, Irvine. I worked there for a very short amount of time just to get my foot in the door, and they're a very large school district. We're a good size. There are some very small ones around us as well, but yeah, we're a good size school district, and there's a lot of stakeholders in our area that know what's going on. They have businesses out there that support us just all the time. Our administration is just fantastic when it comes to some of the stuff in preparation for, worst case scenario. And that's what we're going for right now is what's the worst thing that could happen come fall? How do we prepare for it? And then what are the other options that we have if it's not that bad?
Right. Yeah. Like your wife would tell you in medical, they prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So that's kind of what you guys are doing. So what is happening? So is California all closed down, or are you able to move around? What's that situation?
So if I want to go to the grocery store right now, I can. If I want to go down to the local sandwich shop and pick up some food, I can go pick it up. We don't have dine-in yet. Everything is curbside pickup, or you can walk in, grab your food and go. My favorite sandwich shop right down the hill here has online order. You walk in, they already have it ready for you on the counter. You just grab it and go. Some of the stores out here have curbside pickup. Just go on over there, call them up when you're at the sign that says number 1, number 2. They bring it out to you, put it in your trunk for you. As far as businesses are concerned, I believe this week, I don't have a date, maybe tomorrow, or they've already done it, is curbside pickup for other types of stores. So maybe you want to go buy some books at a bookstore. Go over, give them a call, tell them what you want. They'll bring it to you at the curb. But most of those businesses have been closed for quite some time.
Gotcha.
So we're finally kind of coming back to some sort of normalcy here this week, if not next, for sure. As far as dine-ins, like I can go to a restaurant and sit down, chill with my wife or my friends. I don't know when that's going to happen yet.
Gotcha. Is there any kind of, so I've heard, and this is, Pennsylvania doesn't have one, but I've heard of other states that are putting together like a committee, a reopen committee for schools, where they're taking, making this statewide committee of stakeholders, administrators, teachers, parents, and other stakeholders that are trying to figure out the best way, safest way to, is California approaching it that way, or are they? I haven't a large state.
I haven't heard, and that doesn't mean it hasn't happened. I know Governor Newsom has just thrown a lot of information out there. He's not in complete control of that. Sacramento is where all our big education stuff happens, I think, and that's kind of where it probably will come from. I honestly can't even answer that. I have no idea. But I'm sure there's a lot of people working on it, and then each district is coming up with their own plan, and they're just following the guidelines that are trickling down from the state. So I'll look into that though. And
it's just one of those interesting, because we're all in kind of a holding pattern right now. So everybody's trying to plan for stuff, but nobody really knows what we're planning for yet. So
I think this is a great time to start planning for next year on both scenarios. I think what's great about beginning band is we learn how to be flexible in everything. Like, all right, here's my goal for this week. We get to Thursday, crap, I didn't get half of what I wanted done.
Right.
Here's how we're going to change it for next week or Friday. And so being flexible like that, we can create a lot of platform learning for next year. Okay, if the year looks like this, I already have all this stuff. I'm working right now on just tons of videos I can create for my kids. All right, here's how we put our instrument together, step by step. Great, trombones, here you go. And if we're at distance learning, there you go. Because if we have 5th grade beginning band where these kids have never picked up an instrument and the district says you still got to teach them, we have to have something. And it's going to be really slow online, but we got to get them going. And so any little bit helps.
Right.
And we have to create those recordings and say, hey, do it this way. And there's a lot of great YouTube recordings on that. And there's a lot of really bad YouTube recordings on that. So if you want it done your way, you just got to do it.
Right. Well, and so that's an really interesting point, because I was having conversations with people over here, and we of course still don't know what everything's going to look like. And a lot of people I have heard, are contemplating not starting beginners when they're still at distance learning, simply because of the variables involved with that. So because I know that you come from teaching secondary and from middle school experience, so like, what were your biggest challenges and what were your eye-opening experiences of starting the wee little ones?
Wow. In general,
Yeah.
every year. So when I first started, I've been teaching 12 years now. When I first started, I had no idea what to do. I was like, oh, here's a flute, go. And I was very lucky. What?
I said it's usually the case with flutes.
Yeah. I was very lucky. I had a lot of great mentors along the way. And one of the things I learned really quick is that these kids can do a lot. You just have to take them step by step through the process. And there's a lot of learning that they have to do on their own. Like, they have to figure out how to create good sounds. They have to figure out how to create bad sounds. And you have to teach them how to disseminate the good from the bad. And if it's bad, how do we fix it? What went wrong? What do you do to fix it? It's like diagnosing any problem. And so I learned really quick that these kids can do so much if you just push them. And once they think they're there, you push them more and you don't stop. But they're capable of a lot. And so I tell my kids all the time, like, listen, when you go and perform, everybody there is there to cheer for you. They're going to say you're great. They're going to be like, oh, this is wonderful. You know, there's my little kid. They're performing. It's like, your goal is to make them think, oh my gosh, I didn't think a middle school band could do that. I didn't think 6th graders could do that. What's going on here? And that's our goal, is we don't just go for the natural routine of, here's a performance, we're playing something, and audience goes clap, clap, clap. We want the audience to be surprised. And we want to create that expectation every single year. And so it's just a matter of expectation and procedure. And we instill that with the kids. And then when the new group comes in the next year, we say, this is what we did last year. Your goal is to be better than that. Your goal is to push the envelope even more to where no longer are parents and administrators walking into a performance and saying, oh, it's just another performance from this band. It's, what are we going to hear this year? How great is this going to be today? And that's what we want. So I've learned that, you know, we can come in and we can have a band, or we can have a band. And there's some expectations that have to happen, and it comes from the top. And if I'm pushing that into my best kids and they're pushing it to the other kids that are their friends and their peers, awesome. And so honestly, nothing can stop you. As long as you're willing to push it, nothing can stop these kids. And if they want it, they're going to take it.
That's a pretty cool attitude. And the fact that you've included thinking of not just the students in your performances, but how to engage your audience through these performances, that it's not a passive thing. It's an active, we're doing this. So really kind of sideways question here, because everybody has a different means of getting instruments into kids' hands. So for your students, I'm sure it depends on the circumstances of the families, but how does that work? Like Massachusetts, the Boston schools, they all have instruments for every kid. They will get instruments for every kid. Obviously, you've been around here. There's a mishmash between kids who own their own instruments, kids who rent instruments, and kids that use school instruments. So what's it like for your school district?
So we're Title I in California, which means we provide everything, all the way down to the pencil. And
Oh.
so, yeah, we have instruments for every kid, and they need a flute. Here's a flute. Need a clarinet. Here's a clarinet. You need reeds. Here's some reeds. And so we have to kind of manage that each and every year, because I have probably 370 instruments in my inventory. And every year, our Visual and Performing Arts Administrative Group, they try to buy new instruments for our kids as they grow. And so we just provide it all. And if we can't provide it, we find a way to do it. And so like, this is my second year at my school. And last year it was like, let's just get an instrument in every kid's hand. This year I had a lot more kids in my program, which was great. But then I didn't have enough instruments for everybody. So now I have to open up percussion, because I have mallets. We have mallet sets. Here we go. Like, I'm sorry you can't play trombone. I'd love for you to play trombone, but we're out, because I have too many kids in my junior high. But what that allows me to do is send emails out to my administration, say, hey, this is the growth we have. This is what we need for next year. We said we're going to provide. Let's provide. And if I get those instruments by that method, I get those instruments. If I don't, we find a way. But yeah, we do provide everything.
That's amazing, because I know that you've worked in Texas and you've worked in Pennsylvania and now you've worked in California, and that's I don't know if that's how that works in Texas, but that's not how that works in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, in Texas, wow. I mean, there's parent groups. They'll just walk in and be like, "Well, what are my kid playing? Great, I'll buy it right now. What do we need?" And so there's a lot of parents out there that they're willing to just buy the instrument right off the bat, because they're like, my kid wants to do this. And the schools will provide, the trombones, the baritones, the tubas, and even sometimes percussion equipment in beginning band. But yeah, out here, it's just like, oh, you need it? Here you go. Not every district is like that. But they'll make it happen in some way. I mean, Irvine down the road here, my gosh, 4th grade, every kid is an orchestra.
Wow.
And they'll provide it all.
That's really genuinely amazing. So
yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, like I said, for the disparity of availability across California, there is a strong support for it. It sounds like, at least in what they've legislated through the educational standards of their state, which is impressive.
Yeah, and there are pockets of it. Just because I'm getting what I'm getting doesn't necessarily mean the district down the road is getting it.
Right.
And so I'm not speaking for all California schools, but my district specifically, we have a lot of great things going on, and that's really good. And we're not. I'm not going to say that we're at the top of the ladder yet as far as just music education goes, for the state of California, but we have the necessary equipment to make something happen and grow over the years.
And that's really impressive, because, I mean, that you would associate that. No offense, most of the school districts in Texas are very well off.
Mm-hmm. That's my puppy.
But you have mentioned that you're a Title I school, and so your administration obviously is very supportive of this and very focused on making sure that all of their students are receiving a well-rounded education, which is really phenomenal and fascinating at the same time. How's Mallory? Is she very busy?
Yeah, she's in a meeting right now.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, wow. She's upstairs. I'm downstairs. We're both in video meetings right now.
Congratulations, you've worked out a system. Where's the baby?
Up with mom.
Nice. Mom's handling that.
Yeah. Sometimes we'll trade off. When I have my school meetings, I'll have the baby, and she'll be doing her stuff by herself. So it's a trade-off.
There you go. So any other fun stuff happening in California?
My lawn's growing very nicely.
Ooh, excellent. Well, did you guys redo your backyard?
We did.
That's what I thought.
It's taken some time. When we moved in, there was ivy all around our property, and it was a lot. So we ripped it all out.
That is a lot, because it's like, if you want it, good on you, because it's going to grow everywhere. And the weird thing is, there are so many beautiful indigenous plants in California, and yet so many people don't plant those indigenous plants.
Yeah, we're growing them. My wife has just a ton of. I'm looking over here like, oh, you guys can see it. You can't see it. My wife has a ton of succulents now on the side over here. When we lived in Pittsburgh, when I was working with you guys, we used our balcony to grow a garden, And
nice.
and now we have a backyard to grow a real garden. And so we're doing that. We have a lot of succulents. We're about to plant a lime tree. We have a tangelo tree that's trying to survive. We have a lemon tree that's been around for a while. It just took about a year or two for us to get it back to life and growing actual lemons.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they're weird looking lemons, but I swear to goodness, they're those Italian lemons. They're like the good lemons.
Oh, they're great.
They're weird, mutinous looking, but they're delicious. And they have more fruit than pith. I guess that would be the best way to describe them.
Yeah, but they're good.
Yeah. Hey, if you can't, I mean, I would kill stuff. So, I mean, your heads and tails above
you.
Above. How about you? Can you grow stuff, Jen?
No.
Yeah.
I maintained flowers last year in a pot. There's this spider plant that I have over here, and it's been slowly dying. Sorry, Jen. Jen in the office gave that to me. I have to water it. I've killed 2 succulents over the past 2 years. So, nope.
Yeah, I said the school district used to send growing things home for Mother's Day, and I swear to God, it was just a challenge to make me look bad because your child has nourished this and grown it since February, and they're going to bring it home in mid-May for their mother, and their mom's going to kill it in a month. So I tried to at least extend that lifespan to the end of September, but not always very successful with that.
Yeah. Our principal gave us herbs for Teacher Appreciation Week.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, she's a gardener, so she gave us seeds.
That's awesome. What a good idea.
Seed. Yeah,
What a challenge.
Yeah. I want to grow herbs so much. I'm getting into like making things, which by the way, so my coffee of today it's a cold brew that I made. So I made the cold brew concentrate out of Hallowed Grounds, unofficial sponsor. Richard always says that. And then I made it into like an orange seltzer. So it's the cold brew concentrate, sparkling water, or you can use tonic water if you want it sweet, and then just like squeezing orange in there, put a little peel in, and it's fantastic.
I think you had mentioned that you had done the orange thing. Okay, so Pat's going to get Earl Grey from Hallowed Grounds when I get down to buy it and send it. But we're also going to send you this cute, wait, let me figure out where I can put it. This cute little mug, because I thought of you.
Look at that.
Pat frequently refers to himself as the Dark Lord, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And he challenges his children because they, he's a fun guy. He's a fun, energetic teacher, and he just teaches the crap out of those kids, and they know that he's a big softy. Ha ha ha. And then he does something that confirms. I know. And then but then you meet a soulmate, right? One of these kids comes along and they're just as cute and adorable as you, but deep down inside, there's darkness brewing. There's a storm a blooming. So.
I had a student like that out in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And she actually referred to herself as the mini Sith Lord of me.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, it was really funny, and she was just like, "Yeah, my goal is just to take over the band. It's mine."
Fair. He probably plays clarinet. It happens.
He actually did play clarinet. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Clarinet.
We're just better at stuff. That's all. That's it. It's just odd. So I just found out there was a really cool link that who sent it to me. I believe Mr. Hoytich sent it to me. And but it's a picture of bassoons, and there is what looks like a vaporous smoke coming out of the bassoons. So of course you click on the link because you're like, wait, there is smoke coming out of bassoons. And I think correct. But it was actually a study done by scientists in Germany of how much air is expelled through an instrument, because people are always asking, like, are we going to be shedding coronavirus like mad in the situation of playing musical instruments? But the smoking bassoons proved that very little breath makes it out of the bell of any instrument. Isn't that curious?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that people are very, very, very concerned. And the situation with playing musical instruments is as it always has been. Like, have you ever encountered kids that are gross and taking care of their instruments?
Yeah. I've seen the moldy clarinet reeds that are still attached.
Right.
I had a kid who somehow got water in his trombone case, and he moved away, and the trombone just kind of sat there because I didn't have time to take care of it right off the bat, and
Right.
I didn't have
You
a kid
didn't think there'd be water in it.
Yeah, so we opened it up at the end of the year, and mold had grown all over the case.
Excellent.
Yeah, sometimes just take a hose to it, Lysol.
Yeah. Kids are gross. So the reality of the situation is instrumental music teachers have always been dealing with grossness, but now more than ever, wash your hands, brush your teeth, and swab out your instrument. And if all else fails, don't close it with water inside of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the case was probably broken anyway. Probably seeped in there somehow. Yeah, I don't know how many times I've gotten sick because, like, the week before I was fixing a spit valve, and who knows? Yeah.
Right. It's one of those things that goes along with the job. I always jokingly say that music teachers have probably the most robust immune system, simply because, I mean, literally everybody's had the experience of some kid comes to tell you something or talk to you about something and they sneeze or they cough, and it's like it comes out of nowhere and they're like, oh, my body, I don't know what to do. And so there it is. It's just all over you. And you're like, well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we were just one giant petri dish.
But the good news is washing your hands keeps you safe, and there's very little expelled virus. So I mean, there are good things about this.
Yeah, I wish band would just drive everything for the school. Hey, we're safe. Let's all come back to school.
Right, exactly. Well, and and you brought up the point that you're teaching more theory. This time is an opportunity for lots of things that you don't normally have time to teach in the classroom, right?
Yeah, I think so. And more importantly, I think this is a time to figure out how to be more efficient in the classroom. So I always refer back to, I don't know if they had it when you guys were in school, but the Mad Minute for math.
Yes.
Okay. So I remember doing that when I was in 4th and 5th grade. Every day we come on in, literally the first 2 minutes of class, hand it out. Okay, time, go. 60 questions, do as much as you can in a minute. And we'd always race to see who could finish first and get 100% correct. So I thought, you know what? Why don't we just do that in class too? And so going into next year, we're going to have like a Mad Minute for theory of just for my 5th and 6th graders. All we're going to do is name notes. Boom. Just Mad Minute. Here's like 20, 30 notes. We'll increase it as we go. And you can either do it on paper, which I hate grading. I'm glad I'm not a math teacher because grading would be awful. Or you can do musictheory.net, which I love. Yeah, just, okay, here it is on your iPad. Throw it out to everybody. There's the link. Click on it. Go. And then they all take their key, send it to me. Boom, we're done. We move on.
So is that a web-based thing or is that a app-based thing?
Both.
Oh, okay.
There is an app for musictheory.net, but I just use the web base. And so for that, you go to their exercises. There's a link you can click for the director. And it's a random exercise. So you just make the parameters, and then it'll throw out the random notes to the kids, and they just name it. And if they get it right, it blinks green and plays the pitch. If they get it wrong, it just turns red, and they can guess again. And so I always tell the kids, like, okay, cool. If you get 20 correct, that's awesome. But if you get 20 correct out of 80 attempts, not as good.
Right.
Same for 20 out of 20. So I'm going to try to incorporate that. And it's just a lot of training. But as long as you do it at the beginning of the year, it works.
Right.
I hate training mid-year. It's a lot of work by that point. But if I can instill it the first couple weeks of school, every day we walk in, boom, we do it. Oh, we're really good at naming notes now. Let's try interval.
Right. Well, and I said mid-year, everybody's going to give you a little bit of pushback because this is no, I don't like this. I know a teacher over here who has been historically just a phenomenal instrumental music teacher. And before the kids so there's always that little gap period where you go, okay, we're going to start band, and then they get the instruments in the hands because however that is acquired. And so during that period, he teaches them breathing exercises. So by the time they get the instrument in their hand, this isn't new. This is what we do in band class. And there's just all those little things that that you just don't have time to do. And don't you think, I don't know, this is just me, but there's so much about music, instrumental music education, that you can only lead them so far. There's so much of their own time and personal, I don't know what you'd call it, interest level, participation level. It's like, math, unfortunately, is a lot of the teacher explains, and then you repeat and you repeat and you repeat and you repeat. With music, we're like, okay, here's your training wheels. Now go figure out how to ride the bike.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You guys have played Flappy Bird, right?
No. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Flappy Bird is the worst game imaginable, because you start playing it, you're like, oh, this is easy. I just, punch my finger onto the screen and you lose. And then you do it again. And it happens within seconds of starting the game. And your little Flappy Bird dies because it hits a tube. And so I relate band to Flappy Bird all the time. It's because, and I tell the kids, it's like, look, you're going to be awful at this. But so was Dave Grohl when he walked into a garage with a guitar and said, I want to learn guitar.
It's true.
And I was like, you've got to get over it. And you've got to figure some of this out on your own. I was like, I'm going to give you the guidelines, the foundation for how to make this work. But if you don't go home and work on it, you're always going to be bad. And if you're always bad, what are you going to do? You're going to quit.
It's
so
true.
You have to go home and you got to work on being bad, and you got to figure out how to make it better. And then you come back into class and we say, okay, let's take what you were doing and let's talk about how to make it better. But as long as both of those things are happening, man, the possibilities are endless. It's amazing. But they have to get over that fact that they're going to sound really awful for a little bit of time. And once they do that, yeah, they'll do some great things. So yeah, it's Flappy Bird. Band is Flappy Bird.
Band is Flappy Bird. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to have to look up Flappy Bird now. So
it's an evil game.
Yeah.
Well, that's even more intriguing if it's an evil game. So Jen moved. She's in her new apartment now.
Oh
yeah. I'm now living in New Brighton. It's adorable. I love this town.
I've driven through there a couple times.
She's an adult.
Twice.
I'm an adult.
That's right. You're an adult.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. Weather's not so nice, but just walking around town has been awesome. And I encourage anybody who is listening, watching, to get outside.
It's beautiful today.
And just walk, but safely, Yeah.
So has wildlife been weird in California? Because we've had there were deer at Geneva College, and there have been deer just roaming around neighborhoods here in Pennsylvania because nobody's out. And so has anything weird happened in California?
It's the normal, the snakes, the mice, the coyotes.
They're
the biggest ones that I was wondering about.
Yeah, our area just has them everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, daytime you could be walking down the park trails and there's a couple coyotes. Nighttime we have a hill right behind our house, and so at night occasionally you'll hear them at 1 a.m. just walking on by. And then we have a lot of just open vegetation. If you go even higher up the hill and then across the street, it's just all vegetation. So that's where a lot of the coyotes, the rattlesnakes, all those just live. So I mean, yeah, animal life is kind of the norm here. You just learn to live with it.
And how does your puppy deal with it?
Barks at everything.
Nice.
Here, I'll even show you. He is right there.
On patrol.
He is. He is.
Oh. That's adorable. Well, Pat, thank you for taking time and being with us today.
Of course.
I appreciate it. It's always good to have, we have tried to make these coffee conversations started originally with Jen and Richard and Noah talking about what's happening in the music industry. If we were going to, NAMM, which sad, no summer.
I was so sad I missed you guys at NAMM.
Yeah. Well, you were sick, right?
I was really sick.
Yeah. And I have suspicions about that, but I will share with that privately.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where then it morphed into conversations with different people throughout the industry. And we appreciate you coming on, because getting a perspective from another state, another school district, someone who's experienced Pennsylvania, it adds a lot of community to this experience of, gosh, what the crap are we doing right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming on, and I wish you, of course, the best, and for all your little kitties. And like I said, I will be in touch with you as far as the special guest that we're trying to arrange for your kiddos whenever you see them in person again. Yeah, so that'll be very exciting. So Jen, you have anything to add?
Yeah. No, I just want to thank you, Pat. You bring a lot of really great insight to just education in general. So I'm really glad that we got to have you on. And I know, like, me personally, like, I've learned a lot from you over the years. You know, we worked together for summer there. So.
Yeah, it was a fun time at Blackhawk.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And if anybody is now just watching, just commenting to the people watching live, once this ends, go back and watch a few minutes of your time on this video, because there's some really good stuff in there, as with all the other ones.
Hopefully you guys noticed. Cup of coffee.
You said 2. You promised 2. Have you
Right.
finished any of them?
I'm about to go get my 6th cup for the morning.
Nice. Okay, because it's only like 11:41 there, right?
It is.
Yeah. So
it's still morning. We woke up early, made tacos, hung out with the baby.
Breakfast tacos?
Yeah, you know I cook.
Yes.
I cook a lot.
He takes pictures of his food. He is a wonderful cook, and he always makes me hungry.
Instagrammers, yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
So he's not just arm candy for his doctor, the wife. He also is an excellent cook. So, and you have access to like amazing produce out in California.
Yes.
I mean, literally, I was trying to figure out, I love lemons. Okay, so there's just a real honest moment. And I could put lemons in everything. And like, I got a slice of lemon with the fish that I got when we were at, I don't even remember what the restaurant was, but it was like the size of a cantaloupe. And I'm like, I need to send produce back to Pennsylvania, where it's sad and adorable and sincere. But California has some awesome stuff.
There are some great places. So when we lived in Shadyside in Pittsburgh, we would walk down to the Williams-Sonoma, I think, just down the street. And there was a local farm that would deliver boxes of fresh produce, fruit and veggies, to the Williams-Sonoma. And we had a monthly just box. So once a month, just going over there. Yeah, it was like a $30, $40 box. And they would just give us this giant, mass amount of produce. Take it home, cook.
Nice.
We found out we have one here right down the street too. So $25, you get a giant box of fruits or vegetables. That'd and awesome. I mean, they make it worth your while.
Absolutely.
And during this time when, especially in California, groceries are expensive.
They are.
And I want to get delivery from a store. Well, it's going to cost me $5 for the delivery. Produce is already outrageous sometimes. $25 per box, I'll take it.
Right.
And we try to use every bit of it. What we can't, we put into my wife's garden as fertilizer, basically.
Nice.
So yeah, we reuse it no matter what.
That's awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us for Coffee Conversations 129.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. And be well. And we will see everybody. I think we are off until next Tuesday, right, Jen?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow's off. Also, just want to put out there, if you haven't already thanked an educator in your area, in your family, and your friends, do that. It's National Teacher Appreciation Week. And so thank you, Pat, for teaching
you guys.
And it's so important during this time. So thank everybody.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time on Coffee Conversations.
Later, guys.
See ya.